Welcome to the podcast of School Beyond Limitations. In this podcast, you will learn how to guide your child through their school life with the intention to help them find their unique essence that will allow your daughter, your son to live a fulfilled and meaningful life. Hello everyone. Today I'm very delighted to present you and to introduce you our long-lasting staff member, Kiki Tompazi. She's been part of School Beyond Limitations from the very beginning. I mean, except for the pilot phase, but even throughout the pilot phase, she's been in contact with School Beyond Limitations, with me. We went through training, and so I would like Kiki actually I would like to ask Kiki about her attraction. What attracted you to School Beyond Limitations to start with?
That's a very nice question. So the first time I heard about the school was when it was around my birthday. So that was not this February, but last February. And we exchanged wishes. So you sent me a message saying happy birthday and so on. And then we had a talk, like a live talk on Skype or something. And one thing led to another, and you started telling me about the school that you were working on at that time. So the more you were telling me about the school, the more I was liking it. And from the first moment, I thought, this is such a great idea. This makes so much sense. And I had no second thoughts about what you were trying to do back then. I mean, it seemed the next logical step in education, and it had so much potential and all these possibilities were opening up. So I was very excited to hear about what you're doing. And I thought I'd love to be part of this.
So you
so yeah, and that was the moment it all happened.
Yeah, and you were talking about possibilities and opportunities and, you know, many options. Did you have a straight understanding of what that and in which direction that would lead you to?
Me as a teacher, you mean, in the school?
You as a professional, and you as a professional in the field of education, because you were just saying at the moment, you know, this was just a logical next step for me in education. So you, of course, we had these conversations taking place. We went through, you know, kind of training, but still you were not yet part, you know, officially of the staff. So what did you think with regards to opportunities and options and logical development in education?
I was thinking, when I mentioned the opportunities, I was thinking of the education itself and not necessarily opportunities for me as a person, but then of course also for me. I've been in different contexts in the past, and what I was seeing is that people need something more personal. People need more things to happen, more personalized learning. And I thought that logical in the sense of what more can be offered to students and families. So I thought this is a next step to education. And why not also to me? Because I was also living abroad and I've been traveling around. So at that time I was back in Greece, where I come from. And I found that I was not satisfied returning back to the Greek educational system. I was missing the Dutch educational system at the same time. And I thought, why should a teacher be bound to one place, one school? I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's mostly the place, right? And what you can do within the classroom context of a traditional school. So at a certain point, even when I was in the Netherlands, where everything is more innovative, I would say, I still found that it was not working for me the way I felt I wanted to work. I wanted something more. I wanted to do more things, and I wanted more challenge somehow. And at the same time, I like it to be my choice in a way. The challenge, I can choose the challenge for myself as well. Of course, there are things that we decide all together as a group, and I do have the freedom and the space for me as a person and as a teacher to develop within the context.
You are talking about innovation and, lots of new ideas bringing and being, more personalized and stuff like that. Now you have gone through an entire school year with school beyond limitations. What would you say struck you the most? What was the most, or what are the most rewarding experiences with regards to pedagogy, with regards to the development of your students, with regards of your own personal development? Name them all.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. It's also the last day of the school year. If I look back and I remember the first day I met some of our students, and I realized that some of them were, they were very closed inside and they were maybe struggling from their past. And I realized that they could really be themselves and they could open up and find again who they are. And that they could realize they could be themselves and they can be appreciated for who they are. I think that's the most important thing for me. Originally, that's the first thing. If a person is able to be themselves, then they can do so much. Everything else is going to follow. They can so much academically. They can improve their language skills very fast. They can feel that they belong in a nice community where they're not afraid to be themselves. And that element of fear not being there is what allows them to grow so much, so fast.
So are you saying that this has happened? Are you saying that the students being closed initially have opened up and have become more themselves?
Yes, so much. Others less, maybe others more. There were some students who were already, really happy anyways, and they didn't struggle. So for them, they could focus on their goals academically or even take examinations. They could still develop in their own way. Not everyone was like that, of course. The students that were like that had the right environment around them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, this is what I think and what I feel and what I saw actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in comparison to how you hoped the environment would be and how in the end you experienced, was there a big gap in between, or did you find what you were longing for as a professional?
I was used to a more academically oriented context. So the curriculum was the focus and the grades was the focus. And that can also have good results. It's not just about that. So I was used to such a context and I was bringing this with me, of course, and I'm still bringing it with me. I think academic achievement is important for the people that want to have the success in their life. I found much more. I found things that I was hoping to find. Also, a new world opened up. I saw things and we experienced things and we built things up that I had never thought of before. And actually, it's still evolving and it's still developing. And we take into account the needs and what comes to our way. We incorporate that. So that makes the process very organic, as we have said. We can adjust to a certain degree some things we are doing in the lessons. There is this structure. I like structure as a person, as a teacher, but at the same time, there is room for creativity, there's flexibility and listening to people's needs. That was really nice.
With regards to the academics, because you were mentioning the academics, the main focus on academics in different other contexts. Do you have the experience that the academics at School Beyond Limitations is neglected, or is it just different? How would you describe that?
It's different, but it can be the same also. If the student is ready and is at this phase in their life that they want to take an examination, take the exams, they can do that and they can be prepared for it. We have, for example, one student that wanted to take the HGCSEs, and she's a very motivated person, very independent learner at this age of her life. Not age necessarily, but phase of her life, I would say, that we could work with her throughout the whole year, prepare for the exams. And she took the exams, and that was a great benefit to her. She even said what an experience this year has been. Other students are younger or not ready to take exams at this phase of their life, but we listen to the needs. We see what the students can go to or what they want to follow in their life afterwards, and we also pay attention to the academic skills throughout the year, but not necessarily with the pressure that you have to take the exams or you have to take this test or stress them over it. Mm-hmm. So somehow we get them to see the nice side of academia throughout the year.
What is your impression with regards to the aspect that at School Beyond Limitations there are no grades, right? Mm-hmm. We do not grade them, and the students have. How do they approach that? Are students really responding to that positively, in a sense that they go for the best mm-hmm. inside themselves, or do you think a little bit of pressure with regards to grading would be better? What's your experience about that?
So far, from what I've seen, I understand that the students get the stress away from them. They're released from the stress. Somehow in their head, most of them at least have related grades to stress. And it's irrelevant of whether they were successful with grades in the past or not. It's the element of stress that goes away. So after that, I realized that it comes from within to take it more seriously and aim at the best they can for their level, of course, different levels, right? And they still learn and get the input they need to evolve and develop. Like, for example, we give each other feedback. I mean, there's peer feedback when there's a presentation or a project. Students give feedback to each other, so they learn a lot from that. And the teachers also give the feedback, the teacher mentors. And I think this is really valuable. It's specific to the student, it's specific to the capabilities and skills of the student. So after a while, you don't even think of terms of grades. I haven't thought of the grades in such a long time. And I only thought of them when we had the exams, the HGCSE exams, and the student took the mock exams, and also the student had to train a little bit regarding the grades so that they know how it works. Yeah.
So
I think it's nice.
Mm-hmm. And the assessment, you have the perception that the assessment is still, kind of based on a solid foundation. How would you like to explain to people who are watching us, how are the students then assessed? You talked about peer feedback, mm-hmm. but what else is School Beyond Limitations doing in order to assess the students' development in the different fields?
Mm-hmm. Here I can mention the mentor sessions, the individualized sessions. We have a teacher mentor has 1 hour of mentoring with each student, and there we can go further with reflection, so the student kind of self-evaluates themselves. We look back into what they have done, and we see what more is possible. So there's this reflective cycle going on all the time, and then this allows the students actually to be more independent as to where am I standing, how am I doing, and they don't always necessarily need an external source of assessment, but they can assess themselves at a given time. This is something they practice and they learn, of course, over time. It doesn't happen magically from one day to the next. I think it's really valuable when we do that. Mm-hmm. We also, we do follow curriculum, and we do use textbooks also, but it's not that it's our book. So we don't follow the book all the time. I love textbooks and I love exams. I myself, I was raised like that, and I went to a traditional school setting. So during the year, we do bring all that in, and we do exercises from the book, and we give right and wrong answers, of course. But the focus is not just there. It's not only about that.
And what about the monthly feedback, right?
Mhm,
Because would you like to go into this also a
mhm.
little bit? The understanding that parents are continuously
Exactly.
also informed about, and not only parents, of course, also the students.
I think this is so much more valuable for the parents, because this way they can have details and understand what's going on with my kid. Sometimes they will see on the, if you go to a school where you have a grade, you see A, B, whatever numbers, and you get a sense of where your child is standing. At the same time, this is not tangible, right? With the monthly feedback we send to the parents, then they can really see um, what their child has been doing. We write lesson observations, and we write what the student has learned, or what skills have been developed, and what's next. So areas to focus on for the next month. So when the parents are informed about that, and the kids, we're all in communication. We know where we can focus on and improve coming month. What the successes have been last month. I think this is really great. This is really valuable.
So this is actually a way of organic assessment, right?
Mm.
Of continuous organic assessment to see.
Every person is different.
Yes.
Every student is different.
Mhm. What is your experience with the multi-aged classroom context and setting? Because we have students, right, in classes where we find students from the age of 11 up to the
Mhm.
age of 17 in one setting. And what's your experience with that? What would
Uh-huh.
you tell the audience out there who probably can't really relate to something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, it's understandable. Originally, not for long, but for a while, I had my doubt. I thought, how can this work? But then I thought, I'm sure it can work, because age is a number, right? It's only a number, and sometimes when you are, let's say, 20, it doesn't really mean anything. Maybe you're 20, but you have the life experiences of a 40-year-old person, or maybe you're 20 and you haven't matured enough, let's say, that you still need to take more steps to develop and further mature. So it has a lot to do with the person and the motivation and the engagement of the person, and longing to be with a group and wanting to learn from each other. So the age hasn't been a problem. Of course, there are moments that we might, need to separate into different groups for some projects, and then we can come back all together and share and exchange and learn from each other. Also, though, has to do with the interests. So maybe there is an 11-year-old student who has an interest in drawing, and there is a 16-year-old student who also has a similar interest. So why not these two people can work together? They can work together really well, and they can make a really nice product in the end. Um, what I want to say more.
Maybe you would like to give us an insight about, how is a typical
Uh-huh.
school day organized without
Sure.
needing to go into all the details, but just to
Yeah.
have an idea, is there space for are you making space, right?
Okay. So we start, we connect at 9 o'clock, and we have this kind of routine, which is not very, strict all the time, but there is a certain structure we follow. We start with our meditation, which we love. It's really nice. We do a workout short, just to get into the habit of doing workouts. We might then do some diary writing, write down the intention for the lesson or the intention for the day, to get into the reflective mode. We do a warm up, maybe anything really. We change it day by day. It's not the same. And then other times we might stay as a group together to do some activities as a group, or break down to two groups, or other days then we have time. We spend individual time in different rooms, maybe two people together, or even one person working on their project. or working in common projects together. And the teacher mentor goes there and helps each student or each group. We might have some presentations maybe at the beginning of the lesson, I mean, after all the introductory activities, or even at the end, we have presentations and then sharing time. What have I learned today? How motivated have I been? Again, sort of a reflection, but also looking into what more there is for me to do afterwards, after school, reflecting on what more I can do on my own afterwards, because it can continue after school, of course.
And if you were to now just bring forward some of the differences between what you have experienced as a teacher, and I would like to mention here that we have already had a moment in our lives where we were colleagues. I was a principal of a school and you were the teacher of that school, without comparing it to that specific school, but you have experienced different settings as well. You've worked in Poland, you've worked in Italy, you've worked in Holland, you've worked in Greece, right? So you have an understanding of different settings. And now for 1 year, you have experienced School Beyond Limitations. What would you say are the main differences, and what do they mean to you?
The main differences. What feels different to me is that we are really a community. We really care for each other. We really get to know each other, and I find this very important. It feels nice. I understand also the students really like it. I feel safe. This is something I haven't felt, or have felt to a certain degree in other contexts, but here really I feel good. I feel we belong with each other, and it's nice. It's a calming environment. It's a happy place, and we work together because we like each other. We like what we're doing. There's no competition there. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's not even a concept there. It's nice. It's about collaborating and evolving education and doing the best for our students, for each other. We love each other. We support each other. I think this is it.
Oh, how beautiful. And I think maybe one of the last questions I have to you is about, because of course there are the online classes, right? But we also meet physically in different locations for our residential weeks. Would you like to maybe say something about your experience in the different locations and how you experience the kids and how they bond beyond? As we always say, it's always going beyond. So what is your perspective with regards to that?
The residential weeks are, I think, very important because we do get together. We still have the actual physical contact. We can, hug each other and play with each other and see each other and feel the energy of the other person. And it really bonds us. We spent 5 days together, but it's like, from all day, from morning to night, and we do so many activities together. It's very intense, and we bond so much. We learn together, and we actually get to go to these places and not just be there as tourists, but we try to make the best out of the situation, learn from the people there, and we want the students to experience something new and really take that away from them, because themselves later on they will be world citizens, probably, most likely, or maybe not. That's not even the point. The point is that they can get even more independent with this kind of approach. Yes, of course, we're together. We still feel the need to see each other, and online for me it works perfectly. And for example, this last residential, we can't do it in the country, but it's not a problem. We still find ways to spend full days with each other, and I think that's great because we still feel the need to get connected. We're a community, as I said before, and it's really valuable to get together. And for me, also, the first one was really nice because then I also got to see some of the parents, and it's nice to see the parents as well. Yeah, for me, that was really nice. And I also liked a lot how different the residential weeks were. The countries were different to each other, and also the activities. I know all the students loved so much music theme going on in Vienna. That was super nice. And Finland was also super nice because it was like so cold, and we did all these nice activities away from devices, and we kept it very simple, but at the same time we did so much within a day, even though we had no technology or we were not going anywhere too far away from our cabin. And Murcia was super nice also. We did all this field work, and it was so hot, and we were so tired. That was very nice at the end of the day. Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Excellent. So what would you like to say to people who watch this about School Beyond Limitations? How would you describe School Beyond Limitations in a few sentences?
It's practically a summary of what I was saying. For me, it's the loving community that is there. And I'm not just saying that, it's true. Really. It's the kindness. We're open to the needs of people, and we only want to do the best for the other person. And even if something is not, for any reason, working out, it's like that sometimes, then we look for alternatives and we make it work. And the sense of freedom. It's really nice. I mean, we have students who are one day here and the next day they're somewhere else, and they're still connected and make friendships. Most of our students now, they have opened up and they feel very good, and that they have friends in other countries of the world, which is super great also, I think.
And you as a professional, what would you say as a professional? Do you have an environment where you feel that you can also evolve as a professional enough?
For sure. You know what? As I mentioned the freedom already, I can still practice the subjects I really like. I love physics. I love mathematics. I can still do all that. But I'm not just that. This is what I studied, and this is what I mean, I really like it. And more than that, you're more than a teacher. You're a person, and you're taken seriously for that. You can evolve spiritually, and with the mentor sessions. I also have a mentor session, and that helps me professionally, emotionally, spiritually, in so many different fields of my life. And I think the fact that we have this balance within the work context, I think it's amazing. Because you're not just a teacher, you're so much more than that.
Oh, I think that's the final sentence, and it's so good to actually finish it like that. Thank you, Kiki, for having made this time for this interview, because I think it's very important for people out there to understand who is behind School Beyond Limitations. And you're such a caring, and a professional teacher mentor. And I think our students, they really love you. And one can sense when you are talking that you are just doing it with all your heart. And this is why you have been chosen to be part of School Beyond Limitations. So thank you. And everyone who is interested in an environment like that, where you can really build up community and feel bonded all the time, even if you are not physically together, then you may want to look into School Beyond Limitations, and you may want to choose School Beyond Limitations for your child. Thank you for watching. At School Beyond Limitations, we support our students find their unique essence. Feel free to share the content of this podcast with other parents. We are here to show that your children can, indeed, bring their unique essence into life. So, reach out to us if you think that this is what you'd like your daughter, your son to experience, or apply through our website. Also, leave your comments, your questions, or your review about the podcast. Share it with others. And as you know, sharing is caring. Trust and you can see.